High school teachers of Reddit, what's the most awkward position a student has ever put you in? I had a student, freshman 15 years old, send me a picture of herself in lingerie with the line, "What can I do to get an A?" Had to protect myself. Turned it into administration. It was a very awkward meeting with her parents. Just God you didn't get arrested for possession of CP. Rules can be weird. I was afraid of that, but our district's legal team said because she was covered it could not be considered child norp. I had a male model like PE teacher who had to start dressing bad and not shaving to make girls stop having a PE note for injury so they wouldn't just hang around him. Did it backfire and make him hotter? A little, but he just looked like a slob for the most part, plus he chewed gum a lot, and he had good breath. Seems like you got close enough to smell his breath. A 9th grade student in my world history class came to my classroom after school to make up a quiz. She sat down across from my desk, and when I looked up I noticed that her shirt was unbuttoned almost completely down to her waist. She had a scarf on, so at a glance she just looked normal. But she definitely unbuttoned her shirt almost all the way down right before entering my classroom, alone. I honestly thought for a second that the school may have paid her to test how much integrity I had as a male teacher. It was uncomfortable. Edit, should have been more clear. School policy was to keep the door open when alone with any students regardless of gender, which it was. It was right after school, so there was still a lot of activity in the hallways. Her being in there with the door open wasn't out of the ordinary at all. The way she was sitting kept anyone in the hallway from seeing what she had done, which made it even more awkward. I just didn't look at her and acted like I didn't notice. She never did anything like that around me for the rest of the year. Had 2 students, girls, asked to go to the restroom and I allowed them. They didn't come back until class was over. The girls explained they went to the bathroom because one of them was taking a pregnancy test. It was positive. I said congratulations, then recommended they go speak to the counselor or school nurse. Update: a few have asked, and the girl did decide to keep her baby. Her boyfriend baby daddy was arrested that same semester, and I have no idea how long he remained in jail. He was in my class as well, and I know he wasn't released that semester because I never saw him again. I saw my previous student one more time the following year after she had graduated, and she was working the drive-through cash register at a local fast food restaurant. I said congratulations. Holy shit, this absolutely killed me for some reason. Her response was the best. Her jaw dropped then. My mom is going to kill me. One day a male student, I am female, asked me what a blowjob is. I teach students with intellectual disabilities, and he was just asking an honest question. I told him it would be inappropriate for me to answer, and that he should ask his mom. In hindsight, maybe not the best thing to say. I can only imagine what he said. Hey mom, Mrs. Windmill told me to ask you what a blowjob is. Meh. Still better than him saying, hey mom, Mrs. Windmill taught me what a blowjob is. My English teacher was put in a very uncomfortable situation a few years ago when one day during class one of the girls asked if she could use the bathroom, and naturally he said in a little bit. 5 minutes later she raises her hand again and my teacher replied, "I'll write you a pass right now." Then the girl said, "Never mind, it went back in." The look on my teacher's face was amazing. I don't understand, someone please explain. Girl was about to poop herself. She was experiencing turtling, which is when the tip of the poop comes out of your butt. The turtle went back into its shell. Student threatened to strangle me with his iPod cord and then didn't. One of my very good-looking male friends is a science maths teacher. He's one of those mad people that loves to make maths fun, and honestly his classes are like a damn performance. It's beautiful, but a lot of the girls in the class just giggle and asked him if he has a girlfriend. He kept deflecting them and concentrated on making the class fun, but then they got nasty to a quiet girl he paid too much attention to. She was actually interested in math, and he gave her some extra material after class that he thought she'd like. He fully put his foot down and demanded a parent meeting with all of the girls and questioned parents, and told them straight up they could either act like mature people or get out, and that he didn't deserve to be borderline sexually harassed while working. Most of the parents were just mortified their daughters would behave like that, but a few were like, "It's a compliment," etc. Luckily admin were on his side. That's a thing I don't understand. You tell someone, "Hey, this makes me uncomfortable," and they angrily insist that it's a compliment, instead of apologizing. Good for him for standing up for himself. Not a teacher, but my buddy asked our fairly attractive physics professor to prom. It was really hard to watch. What did she say? She was caught completely off guard and just let out a awkward, no. I am a gay teacher. One day when I was teaching middle school and one of my female students told me she had to go to the bathroom. She came back and told me in front of the class that her period came. It was her first period. She had no idea what to do. She was not wearing anything, and she was in great pain. You could see the blood coming in. I calmly told her to go to the nurse. I am a 28-year-old gay male and I still have no fucking clue how a period works. And to my student Brittany, it is okay to cringe at the fact that you told your gay teacher and 20 other students that you started your adventure to womanhood. Because of you, I carry pads in my desk. This is why as soon as my twin girls hit middle school, I packed them pads in their bags. They hadn't started to menstruate yet, but it was a just-in-case tactic. You're a good dude for staying stocked. Thank God I teach third graders and don't have to worry about it. Ugh, I started mine that early. I remember it exactly because I hadn't had the talk yet because I was so young. I was at school and some of my female friends held a funeral for me because we all thought I was going to die. When I was teaching high school, a little twit named Austin found out it was my 45th birthday and launched into a spiel in front of the class how I should be sure to get a colonoscopy as I was now at that age. College student here. A classmate in my police investigations course is the instructor's granddaughter. One day we were talking about sexual assaults, and the instructor asked what type of evidence could be left behind on a condom. The granddaughter quickly raised her hand and said, DNA from saliva. The instructor, her grandfather, asked her to elaborate. I was horrified as I watched her gesture as though she had a condom in her hand and ripped the package open with her mouth, hence the possibility of saliva evidence. I definitely thought you were going to say she demonstrated putting it on with her mouth. That's actually really clever thinking. And by asking his granddaughter to elaborate, I'm sure he wasn't stunned when she gave a relevant and reasonable response. Not everyone is super puritanical about sex. In middle school during sex ed, the teacher was preaching abstinence until marriage. The teacher was single, so a student asked him if he was a virgin. Awkward for the teacher because he didn't know which was worse, admit he was a hypocrite or admit he was a 40-year-old virgin. He turned bright red and let us go to recess early. Haha, that's great. When I was in middle school many horrible years ago, I remember sitting in sex ed and my PE teacher Mr. Real talking about condoms and how we should use them. Someone asked a question along the lines of why we should use them, and very slowly and awkwardly he said, "Because skin on skin hurts." I can now remember seeing the lies in his face. Ran into one of my students at the store. The only things in my cart were duct tape, tampons, and motor oil. He looked at my items, and his eyes got large. Not sure what he was imagining I was going to do, but we both acted like it never happened the next day in school. Motor oil to lube up the tampon, and duct tape to keep it up in there. Clearly. Some context. I teach students with intellectual disabilities. Imagine being an 8 years old in a teenager's body. These kids are just honest and always say what is on their mind. Not a lot of understanding of social norms and socially appropriate behavior. One of my students comes up to me and asks to speak to me outside of the classroom. I thought maybe he was dealing with something personal and needed to talk about it, so I said okay. He proceeds to tell me that I am the sexiest thing he has ever seen. I had to try to squash that right away. I told him that he can't say that to me because I am his teacher, it's not appropriate, etc. After that, he asked for a hug. Lesson not learned. I teach middle school, I hope that counts. Last week, a 13-year-old boy asked me what happens when a girl gets turned on. All I could say was, "Go ask an experienced friend." I'm going to pretend this didn't just happen. I'm a young female teacher. Shoulda said, "Yes, sure, here, watch," and squirt him with ketchup. Teach middle school, so most of the time it's awkward. Fairly soon after I'd broken up with a long-term boyfriend, a student asked me why we'd broken up. I swear, it wasn't weird that the kid knew they'd seen me with him around town. So that was fun. Then the kid threatened to take him out for me. A 6th grader asked me how reproduction can define an organism as living versus non-living if boys cannot make babies. Shouldn't this mean that boys are non-living? I sent that kid right on down to the health teacher. A boy in a dance class at my school was going to have to wear skin-tight leggings in an upcoming performance. Now, serious male dancers usually wear what is called a support, like a heavy-duty supportive G-string, under leggings to tuck everything away neatly. However, the school I teach at isn't a specialist dance school and we don't have many male students, so this wasn't an issue I have had to deal with before. It was decided that the school would purchase the support for him since we had to make a trip to a dance shop anyway, and we knew what to look for. Cue an awkward phone call with the student's mother to explain why his teachers were buying him a G-string. Do you have a similar story? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.